recovery has been. Have you had a chance to do much training at all this week?
We trained once against Wigan.
Recording in progress.
And then we trained once today before we play Hull. So obviously, last week a little lethargic against Wigan, didn't start really well. That first 40 minutes was hectic, and not us. I didn't see that coming, but obviously disappointed with that. But since then, we've had a get together yesterday, but we didn't train. It was more a weight session and a bit of a flush just to get the lactic acid out to make us feel a little bit better, and then we just trained this morning.
Good stuff. And how important is this clash with Hull tomorrow, given the fact that there's only a handful of games left in the league table and returning to winning ways effectively? Yeah,
I think again it's home here, so it's always difficult to go short turnaround into Castleford away, into Wigan away. That's the tricky part. If one of those may have been at home, it might have been easy for us, especially the Wigan one. But we had to travel twice away, but now we come home on a short turnaround against Hull FC here. So should be a little bit better for us, a little bit easier for us. We're not going to take them lightly. We know they've got a few out, but we have as well. We've experienced that all year. So this week's been about us, but to come home here and find a win is going to be really important for us. We understand very clearly our situation and the ladder and the importance of a really solid performance.
Yeah, just on the team news, there's obviously no Matt Moylan. You said that after the Wigan game earlier in the week. Have you found anything more about him, about how long he's expected to be out for, short term, long term?
Yeah, we're just going to rest him for this game on a 5-day turnaround into this one. If it was a big final or something like that, we'd play him, but we're not going to risk that, with only a handful of games left. So Zach Hardacre, who played a pretty good second half, to be honest, is going to take up that position there, and then we welcome back Tom O'Mone back from his HIA. So the forward pack's quite a decent pack, probably our strongest, which we haven't had to field. I think we've only fielded it 3 times this year, so that'll be Tom O'Mone, Mulhern and Apape. That's as good a front row as there any in the comp. You got O'Donnell and Holton, and then Asiata at 13. So the bench will be pretty good as well, with Penne, Trout. We've got Matty Davis and also Brad Dwyer. So yeah, pretty good side.
Yeah, can I just ask about Gaz O'Brien as well? Is his protocols just is it about just following that protocol and he'll be back next week? Because I know we had 2 pushes within a short space of time.
Yeah, it's usually a 12-day thing, but because he's had a few in close proximity to each other, he's had to spend that extra week on the sidelines. So we were hoping he'd be right for this one, but it doesn't fit in the days with the short turnaround. So he'll be right for Salford next week.
Good stuff. Just the last one from me. Can I just ask about Ben McNamara as well and how he's getting on in his recovery? Yeah,
Ben's had an issue with his back and some nerve issues in that, which is sending nerve pain down the back of the hamstring. So it's not a good one, but we're working really hard to. It's one of those ones where it's time that heals that. So he's back out in the field running now. He has had some complications with it, but he's not far off.
Good stuff, Adrian. All the best tomorrow.
Cheers, mate. We'll see you here.
Hi, Adrian. Yeah, just look, obviously disappointing result for you on Tuesday in a game that, in my view, should have been played over the international weekend. But I'm sure you probably share that view. Yep. To be honest, did that game show that you just can't play more than one game a week, Adrian? At this game, I know a lot of people will say at one time players played loads of games. But it's so much faster and combative and collision-based now is rugby league, and I just don't think you can.
It's difficult. I mean, it's not ideal because we only had a 30-minute session during the week, but both teams are in the same situation. You can't, and Wigan played extremely well with what they had there. So, it's more of an attitude and a mindset. I think ideally, we would prefer not to have played it in between on the short turnarounds and on that international weekend, as you mentioned. But it is what it is, and this is the last part of that difficult period now. And like I said earlier, we're just grateful that we're playing Hull at home and not away again. And like I said, when you have short turnarounds and 3 games in 10 days, or whatever it is, you want to have the middle game at least at home so that you can break it up. But that wasn't to be. We didn't turn up there at Wigan. Very frustrated and disappointed, but I'm hoping for a response off the back of that performance.
You regret picking Matt Moylan in that game now because he did look a bit buggered, really.
Yeah, look, I think I got
when he was on the field.
I got a couple of knives in the neck for that, but I think at the end of the day, it was Matt's call, in the sense of him how he was feeling. So I got that wrong, and that's okay. You get that every now and then, but I had someone on the bench there to cover that position. Probably a change probably could have come sooner, but it wasn't ideal. In a big game we had. Jack Hughes in the sin bin 10 minutes in the game and Matty Moreland not physically right at fullback there just put us under a fair bit of pressure, which didn't help the outcome.
And just looking ahead to the whole game, Adrian, it's quite remarkable looking at their squad that they've selected. There are only 2 players with squad numbers 1 to 17, which is Tumavavi and Herman Esse.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it, the changes that they've had this year.
Yeah.
I think they've probably improved over the year, but crikey, it's just been incredible. You don't quite know what you're coming up against, I think.
Yeah, I think, we've been through an injury phase ourselves, so I understand it better than anyone this year. It's very difficult to field the side sometimes, or your best side, which you want to do in the big games. But, this week's been more about us for that reason. We can look at their team and go, right, these are where the threats are coming from, but it's very difficult to say who's going to play where and very little information on the majority of the players. But having said that, there are a couple of good young kids there that I've watched and that they've played over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So those players are looking for opportunity and will bring enthusiasm. So there's still some quality players in that team, albeit from loans from other clubs or whatever, but there's still some quality there that can hurt you. So it's the same for us. If we turn up with the wrong attitude like we did last week, we're going to get hurt again. So it's about us turning up, responding to the performance from last week, and then getting us back on track with the DNA of who we want to be to finish the season.
And just looking ahead a little bit more, if we assume that you do beat Hull, which you would think on the form book you would do, but then it's Salford next week, Adrian, and that's a really crucial game for you, isn't it? Because if you look at the ground you've got to make up to get into the 6, and Salford are one of those sides you could draw back.
Yeah.
It could hardly be more important. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we'll address that next week when we get to it. But yeah, you're certainly right. This probably guarantees them a semi-final spot if they beat us. But having said that, we're in a position now where. We can't afford any more slip-ups. We understand the math and the situation that we're in, but what we're in control of is the 80 minutes on Friday, Saturday or Sunday this week. So that's what we've got to focus on and make sure we stick to the process.
Absolutely, and good luck tomorrow, mate. And
yeah, thank you.
I hope you are battling for a top 6 place next week.
We will be. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.